Good Thursday morning, my friends. MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa here. Thank you for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm starting to see some signs of a little bit of a shift. It doesn't mean that we're going to do an about face to much colder than normal weather, but you'll see what I'm talking about. When we look at the upper air pattern and we go out into next week and the week after, it's starting to get jumbled up. And I will be honest, this means a pattern change, a seasonal pattern change. And so models and us meteorologists don't really know what lies ahead 2 weeks out, but we do know that the end of consistent hot summer weather is coming to an end. I'll show you what I mean about that. But first, we've got to get through the weekend, and we got to get through it with shorts, short sleeves, and flip-flops, it looks like. And if you still do it at this time of the year, sunscreen. Are we going to get some rain soon, Mark? We're going to address that too. Maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, and this comes into the new introduction of the upper air pattern change. So we've been kind of watching a little rain possibility Monday to Tuesday. It's backed off Tuesday and Wednesday and come with a little bit more vigorous of a upper air pattern change. But right now, we just have some random scattered patches of high clouds around. So a decorative sky and a dry sky. Here's the radar. And there is no rain out there to speak of. Now, on the radar forecast, let me get it for you here. The radar forecast, you'll see a stray shower toward the Straits region on Saturday. The air is so dry that maybe it doesn't even, wet the sidewalk. Hey, good morning, David Feinblum, Bloomfield Hills. Convertible weather, yes, correct. And good morning, Cadillac, Todd, and Gen C. Chilly, Celine, but it burns off pretty quickly. So here's your radar forecast today. Dry, absolutely gorgeous. Now this is the middle of the night tonight. Some showers come across the western part of the UP and dwindle. This is midday on Friday. Maybe a stray shower in the eastern UP, but not in lower Michigan. And then this is Friday night, and this is Saturday morning, 7, 8, 9. So around the Mackinac Straits, maybe a stray shower, but that is about it. So now we start to look toward next week and the changes. This is my real job, is kind of keep you ahead of everything by several days. I'm realistic. I do know that you have your favorite weather app for today, and it usually does okay for today, but out into the extended. So I'm going to explain to you what we're looking at. We're going to be looking at the European model. It's a good one. Out into the extended. We're going to be looking at its operational mode. That's the single best set of starting circumstances. Then we're going to look at the ensemble, which is 50 tweaks of it. And you will start to see some changes. So here we go. This is the surface pattern. And we'll see when we got a rain coming. This is Saturday. We don't have any rain. This is Sunday. We have a southwest wind and very summery for Sunday and Saturday and Monday. Now Monday, here's that thin band of showers. That's the cold front that gets hung up now because a disturbance, this model is forecasting a disturbance to travel along it, hang the front up, so it gives us a better moisture. And this is kind of the first run that we've seen this, so I don't know if I would buy it just yet. That's why we're going to also look at the ensemble to see how it looks with 50 tweaks averaged. So this is Tuesday. So this would say we get a rain on Tuesday, and then note the blue lines. That's the colder air aloft. Nothing extreme except for the fact that we'll be going from 85, 87 degrees on Monday down to 60 on Wednesday, and that will feel extreme, but our normal high at that point is about 60 degrees, so it's about normal. So this would be a Thursday, and this would be next Friday, October 10th, and than October 12th. So you're starting to see a few more storm systems. Still pretty warm, but not as warm as it is now. Now, we're going to look at the ensemble. Let me make sure this is showing up good for you here. So this is that same model, but instead of the one operational mode, we're going to look at the average of 50 and see how it compares on the rainfall next week. So Saturday, Sunday, still dry. This is Monday. That looks very similar, a stray shower in the northwest Monday. This is starting to look pretty similar Tuesday afternoon into evening. So that's our hope for some rainfall. And then off to the east with a cold front through, and then by next weekend, maybe another small area of showers. This is 12 days out, so we're starting to get into where we could have an occasional rain, probably not drought busters. Now, this is the European model in its ensemble mode on total precip. Oh, better get it so you can see it there. Whoop. Bear with me a second. I just nuked it. Oh, let's see here. Bear with me just a second. So we're looking at the ensemble on total rainfall. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're back. Sunday, nothing. And we sneak through to next Wednesday morning, and it's showing a 1/4 inch to a half inch in the north. So it's, according to the ensembles, it's a rain, but nothing that is really decent. Now, go back to the operational mode, and look what it does. It brings a nice rain through. So we'll just have to see. But it's the first day that it's started to show up. Look at these temperatures. These are the high temperatures. So today we're back to the 70s to near 80 degrees in the southwest half of the state, 75 elsewhere. Friday we're back into the 80s, well into the 80s, maybe 87 Mount Pleasant. Saturday, 87, a real common number. Tuscola County, Saginaw, Bay City, Flint, Ann Arbor, you're going to be 85. Grand Rapids, I think you'll be at least 83. Traverse City, you'll be at least 83. Sunday, temperatures in the 80s. Monday, ahead of the cold front, temperatures in the 80s. And then you see some 70s, and then you see some 60s. Tuesday, cold front coming through, lowers our temperatures to the low 70s. You'll say, wow, it's pretty chilly. Remember, that's still about 10 degrees warmer than normal. And then Wednesday, a high temperature 60 in the south, in the 50s in the north. Thursday, October 9th, 60-ish. That would bring you down to, in the morning, probably down to 40, maybe 35. Friday, low 60s. And then we'll be in the up and down zone as we run this out, way out there, 10, 15 days out. You see up and down, 70 back to 50, sign that the weather pattern is changing. And so now I want to show that to you. What you're going to see here is you're going to see the forecast of the upper air flow at about 15,000 feet up. Remember, we've been looking at this big ridge over the eastern U.S., over the Great Lakes, and that's the warm, dry situation. Now you're going to start to see all kinds of fluctuations in it. That's a sign that, eventually we know the cold air wins, right? We know how this story always ends by the time we get to November or December. But we're going to have that fight, and so the upper air is going to be really jumbled around, and that's the first sign I've seen in a long time of a pattern change coming. It usually takes a little bit longer than what the first model signs show, but we know that it's coming. So we'll look at two things. We'll look at the European's upper airflow in the operational mode. Here it is. And we go into the weekend. That's why we're in the 80s on the weekend. Look at that ridge centered over the Virginia, but extending back into the Great Lakes. And any kink in the jet stream has a hard time busting through. Now remember, cold front on Tuesday or Wednesday, there's the cold front. So look how much different that looks next Wednesday versus going back to right now. Okay, so the atmosphere is becoming compressed. Is a big blob of cold air? No, it sneaks through and the atmosphere comes right back, but there are more disturbances to knock it down. That's why I say we're going to kind of be in a fluctuation zone from the second half of next week into mid-October. Now we're at October 13th and 14th. Look at the upper low forming to the north. Look at the strong jet stream. So this is a pattern change trying to evolve. Now we're out at October 17th. We're still warmer than normal, but we have a strong jet stream which can change the weather quickly. And now we go to the European, the same look, same surface, 500 millibars up, 15,000 feet up, but the ensemble of 50 tweaks. And there's your weekend, there's your big ridge, so we know that's going to happen. Let's see about that cold front on the ensembles. There it is, so we know that's going to happen. That's going to change our weather dramatically. And then we're out at October 10th, October 12th. It's still warmer than normal. October 14th, and as we get out there to the 16th, 17th, you see cooler air to the north. You don't see, I mean, look at the difference. October 17th versus now. Now we have a very warm atmosphere. The Climate Prediction Center has not picked up on it just yet, really, visually, but I think they will start over the next day or two. So the 6 to 10 days, still warmer than normal, yes, and the 8 to 14 day is still much warmer than normal, but we could start to see that shade down as we get toward middle October. And we know it's going to happen, and we want it to happen because we just cannot stay bizarre like this, and we cannot stay dry. I have a post that's going up very shortly about September rainfall. Jackson, you had 0.39, a third of an inch of rain in August. I always like to do this, put it into perspective. That much rain about is all you got. You know, some other areas, Alpena, 7,500, it's only 3/4 of an inch. Traverse City, 1.29. Ann Arbor, 1.67. Flint, 1 1/3 inches, about 1.5 inches below normal. So definitely a dry September. Enjoy the summer weather, and we know it will come to an end at some point. Thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Have yourselves a great Thursday. I'll see you here tomorrow morning, and then I'm taking off, going on a little road trip with Mom. Monday through Wednesday of next week. She's got to go visit her sister, my aunt, in central Missouri. So Mom and Mark on a road trip. Should be interesting. Take care.